morning. It's a cloudy Thursday morning here in Nelspruit. I have the privilege of talking to Pieter and Timur in Russia in this session. The thing is, Pieter is in Russia exploring opportunities for South African Boere. And he and Timur will tell us a little bit more of what they are actually doing. Welcome to the show, Timur and Pieter. And here in Nelspruit it is cloudy and the temperature is sitting at 21 degrees C. I hope that we will get more rain. How is it for you guys there in Russia, sharing South Africa the way that only people sitting across a table can do it?
Uncle Colleen, it's an absolute pleasure having Timur helping me in this effort for our people in South Africa, the Boer people. We don't get a lot of people extending their hands of friendship towards us. And if we have an opportunity to make things happen for our people, this is the man that opened the platform for me here by Vista Immigration. He's handling the whole thing with all information regards to what is necessary for agricultural practices, as well as immigration, as well as employment, and everything from his office. It was a mind-boggling experience for me to see the effort that his company is actually extending towards Western farmers in general. Not just the Boer, because for him it's a personal thing. For us, our people's thing. But for Canadian, American, Australian. So I made a friend for our people here.
Thank you, Pieter. Well, that's great. Timur, can you tell me why have you decided to embark on this mission of getting farmers from the West into Russia?
Yes, sure. Colin, before we start, Pieter taught me a phrase. I hope I will pronounce it properly. So, hoi melis mana.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, a bit of the background on me and my firm. I started practicing immigration from 2001, which is more than 20 years ago. That's when I started the firm. And historically, and when the time was coming, we saw different types of people that wanted to move to Russia. And now is the time of, global unease. Yeah, many things happen globally. And we saw the opportunity about 5 years ago, because of the pandemic restrictions in the Western countries, that quite a few of Western people were looking at Russia as a potential country to move to. And last year there was a presidential decree that was adopted by the Russian president that allows foreign nationals of so-called non-friendly countries to be able to move to Russia pretty straightforward. And from that moment, in accordance with the statistics of the immigration authorities, about 2,500 foreigners moved to Russia, which will also assist those people to move as well. But I already have been looking at possibilities of bringing Western farmers to Russia maybe for the last 5 years. And the reasons for that, I can, let's say, outline three main reasons. Yeah. Number one is that when we bring somebody, let's say, even a qualified specialist to Russia from the West, yeah, even if the person is, top manager of a multinational company, without knowledge of the Russian language, we see that his path into socializing or finding an employment is pretty hard, yeah, because the biggest problem that Westerners have in Russia is knowledge of the Russian language, yeah, because without Russian language, many things are not available, like employment and just regular life. And we unfortunately see that some people from, US, Canada, Germany that moved to Russia after 1 year understand that without being able to communicate in Russian, it's hard for them to find employment. Yeah, and they sit pretty much at home doing nothing. On the other hand, when we look at farmers with this frontier type of spirit, yeah, those guys say, listen, we don't need employer in most of the cases. Yeah, they say we need the piece of land. Yeah, okay, we do need assistance, of course, because without Russian language, it's hard to I don't know, integrate or to do business. But in general, they say we don't need the employer. We know all what we need is a piece of land, and we know what needs to be done. And we do have such examples of a Canadian farmer family. They moved Arendt, yeah, and Denisa. They moved 2.5 years ago to Nizhny Novgorod. They purchased land and they build their farm. They build a house, they build a barn, yeah. They even build a guest house, and they're having their garden, and they're steadily working towards their dream, yeah. But they're not sitting, in a house or an apartment and waiting for some employer to call them and employ them. So they are employed. Second reason is that Russia is the biggest farmland country in the world, yeah. And we are still, there is a lot of land right now in the government approved program. 13 million hectares of fallow land has to be revitalized by in the next 6 years. We will not be able to do it ourselves. Even that we have huge agricultural companies that sometimes are world leaders in certain industries, it's still a lot of effort that needs to be. Also, Russia, having the biggest farmland in the world, is only on the 5th place in the world
when it comes to food production.
When it comes to kind of food production, if we take not specific types of, for example, wheat, we are the biggest in the world. But if we combine the total production of food, we are only on the 5th place, yeah, which means that there is a lot of opportunities to work on and to develop and to grow. And number 3, my opinion, is that the Western farmers, and when I say Western farmers, I'm obviously including the Boer farmers, is that your work ethics is very different to the Russian ones when we speak about agriculture. Yeah, because that's your way of life. Yeah. In Russia, we don't have that, because if you go to the history a bit of Russia and the Soviet Union, basically, when it was Soviet Union, people didn't own land, and they lived in the villages, and they worked in the communal farms. Now, with the modern Russia, yeah, the farming as a job or as a way of life is not something which is let's say very, I would say,
popular because it's still a mind shift for the communities.
Yeah, so
they don't understand that kind of practice. That's why Arendt, who was such a media sensation in Russia.
Yeah. So in Russia, we don't, as Arendt said, this Canadian farmer, he said, listen, in Russia, they don't have farm kids, yeah? And that's a totally different way of life. In Russia, for the last decades, people were moving out of the villages and going to the cities, living a lot of farmlands unutilized. Big companies were working on those lands, but when we go to the farms, what I see is actually people, they're like zombies, yeah? They don't really want to work there. Regular employees, yeah? So when I say that there is a very big advantage in the way your people work, is the work ethics and efficiency.
Can I interrupt you, Timo?
Sure.
If I say, I'm going to make a statement, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. From what I see from my own research and watching videos about life in Russia, and so it seems to me that the majority of the people in the rural areas, they have got this subsistence farming attitude. They don't They want to produce enough for them and their family, and then they're happy. They don't see the commercial opportunities, and that restricts the growth of the potential of the agricultural potential of Russia. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're absolutely right, because many Russians, of course, they have their dachas or they have their village houses, yeah, where they have, let's say, maximum, not like half an acre, yeah, or an acre. That's maximum that people have. On that land, they grow food for themselves, yeah. But because, as I mentioned before, it's not in our, in my opinion, yes, I might be wrong. Some people will say, no, you are wrong. But I think in our culture, it's not very used to be a farmer, yeah. Even for the reason that we still reside in the villages. Like Arend, I think the Canadian guy, I think he's if not the only, then one of the few that came to Russia. And when we got his land plot, yeah, he said, I'm gonna build the house and it's bordering the village. And there are about, I don't know, 20 houses in the village. And I told him, listen, why don't you purchase or build a house in the village? He's like, no, I don't want to live with other neighbors. I want to live on my land in the middle of the field. Yeah. And I said, okay, how do we bring electricity to the field? He said, well, let's look at this and try to resolve it. So eventually he built a house in the middle of the field. He built his small road. Peter was there. We've put, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 posts to bring the electricity. The local government assisted. Now he has electricity, 50 kilowatts, 3-phase. So we did all that. Yeah. So of course we get the assistance, but his mindset, like yours, is okay. We need to use the land not only to feed our own family, but also to become commercially successful. We don't have such attitude. Only now, very, very few people are thinking about this. Yeah. But another, as I said, another very big advantage that Western farmers have is also, I will give you an example on the experience that Arend had. Yeah, we a year ago we visited a dairy farm in the area where he resides. It was former communal farm, and there were about 500 dairy cows. And so Arend asks, okay, asks the owner, yeah, how many employees do you have here? And he said 145. So 145 for a 500 dairy cow. And he's like, why do you need so many people? Like, well, the accountant and the combiner drivers. And he says, if I don't pay them the full year salary, yeah, even when I need to cut hay 2 or 3 times a year, if I terminate the agreements and try to find them when I just need them to cut the hay, I won't find them. Yeah, that's why he basically has to pay them full year-round salary. And the thing is that because this guy, he's former banker, he's not even a farmer. Yeah, he's a former banker. For him, it's an investment asset, but so poorly managed that you can imagine what type of expenses he has on payroll.
Yeah.
When you have 145 employees. And Arend said, listen, me and my family with my kids, we can run this farm ourselves. Maybe we need 1 or 2 employees maximum. Yeah. This is in my opinion, this is still the biggest advantage that Western farmers have, because that's their way of life. He's like, yeah, I build my farm on my land for the reason that I wake up at 5 a.m. and I want to go and look at my animals. Yeah. I don't want to drive from the village to my farm, etc., etc. It's a totally different mentality. Yeah, like in your country, in Canada, in America, you have this 100, like a family farm thing. Yeah, it's 100, I don't know, 50 to 100, sometimes more hectares of land where you reside. Yeah, you don't want your neighbor to be next door. Yeah, okay, your neighbor will be, I don't know, a couple miles away. That's how how it's done in the West. In Russia, it's totally different. And in my opinion, we need people like your people because they know how to work. Yeah, for them, it's a way of life. That's what we lack here with all the opportunities that do exist. I'm not saying it's easy. Of course, there are certain laws, yeah, that do not allow foreigners to immediately purchase farmland in Russia. Um, but there are ways to work around that. Yeah, there are legal ways to ensure that the foreigner that comes and initially either leases rent or purchases this land through establishment of a limited liability company or through cooperative, that his rights are ensured until he gets Russian citizenship. And when he gets his Russian citizenship, yeah, he basically gets this land just formally registered. That we already did our homework and we know how to do. Of course, there are other things and regulations such as immigration laws. You might heard, Colin, maybe I showed to Peter this information. Back in 2018, on the Russian media, there were, these articles, and even there are some videos saying that 15,000 Boer families from South Africa moved into Russia. Back in 2018, yeah, there was a delegation of, I don't know, maybe 10 people, 10 families that arrived. But then nothing happened. To the best of my knowledge, maybe one or two
That thing
families.
didn't become a reality at all.
Yeah. Then there was in 2003, 2 years ago, there was a lot of announcements in the Russian media that Russia is going to build 30 villages for Boer families to move to Russia. There are even pictures of this, several guys sitting on a stone. Yeah, that they started the first village. Guess what? Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
The issue with that is the following. Everybody heard about the problems and troubles that the Boer community and the Boer people faces in South Africa. Yeah, many people want to try to assist, but the problem is that they don't know how, because of the tough immigration laws to Russia. Yeah, and because farming as a business is not easy to understand even for Russians. Yeah, because there are a lot of sanitary, veterinary rules. I don't know. Pretty much everything is different. Yeah. As Aaron says, some of your laws are probably better than in Canada, but some of the laws are stricter, making it harder or similar to European rules. Yeah, because in the United States and Canada for farming it's pretty straightforward, easy. But the problem that exists is that in the United States or in Canada, the price of the land within the last 10 years went so much high that a hectare of land can cost up to $50,000 if if it is okay land. I'm not even saying it's great land, yeah, because one of the American farmers came a month ago to Russia. We went to see some farms and went to see some of the lands, and we were not even in the best farming region of Russia as it's considered to be, yeah. But he saw the black soil and he said, "Listen, I never saw such land in my life." He says, "Listen, the land that I work with, is more browny, yeah, probably has more clay, but the land of his farm where he resides in the United States is $50,000 per hectare. Now, the land that we showed him was $250 per hectare. So you imagine that it's, hundreds times cheaper. So these are the opportunities that I see, yeah, and they're on the table. It's just a matter of, okay, how do we do it? So we outlined several ways to do it. We're working on several, let's say, as Peter said, legs to the table. Yeah, so it's building family farms. It's building like agro cluster for Western farmers or the Boer farmers. Yeah, it's assisting those farmers that don't have, let's say, enough savings to move to Russia and to purchase right away land and build a house, but they are still willing to come to Russia and work. Yeah, so we're also working on this type of program whereby we bring the farmers that initially work, yeah, for 3-5 years until they get enough savings to to purchase their own land and build their own farm. These are the main areas that we're looking at.
All right, Timur.
And then also major investors. You know, if there's, for example, an organization or a corporation in South Africa or a cooperative in South Africa that wants to invest into a major, they can speak to Timur about it because it's available for us.
What I want to let me ask you a few questions to make it easier for my viewers. If I decide now, okay, I want to start go and establish a farm in Russia. You have explained that there is opportunities for people that cannot afford to buy the land. They can start by renting the land and then work themselves into a position where they can afford it to buy the land for themselves. All right. So you have opportunities for people that are not capital strong to start somewhere and work themselves to the end goal of owning their own land. Am I correct?
This is something that we are working on, because for the Boer farmers, there are several differences than, let's say, Canadian, American, or Australians. There are immigration differences, and we do understand that not everybody has enough savings to initially come and start their own farm. So we are working on creating a so-called outstaffing agency, whereby, like, Russia right now lacks 200,000 workers in the agricultural industry. 200,000 workers in the agricultural industry officially is the requirement for the Russian agricultural sector. So what we are planning to do is to
similar to the H2A program,
similar to this American program, whereby the Boer farmers are coming, we find them employment, we provide them through employer housing and other necessary facilities. They get their salary, they save on their salary, and then they eventually purchase land for their family farm. If we combine the efforts, if it's not one person coming, if, let's say, 10 people are coming, 20 people are coming, we are ready to, that gives a bit more of a flexibility for this group of people to be able to combinedly, let's say, purchase a bigger chunk of land where in the future they can settle
about it again.
But answering your question, yes, this is what one of the ways that we see for your people.
Okay. From what another thing that I understand is that the language is a major barrier, and people need to understand that if they are planning on being successful in Russia, they don't have an option. They will have to be able to get themselves capable of managing the language. Is there assistance
teachers
for people to bridge that language gap?
It's not only a barrier to success, it's also a necessity specifically for coming back to the immigration things. As I said, there is a list of 47 so-called non-friendly countries, citizens of which can come to Russia and get a 3-year residency without so-called quota and without passing of the Russian language test as an immigration requirement. So South Africa, being the BRICS country, is on the list of friendly countries. Which makes it harder for the Boer farmers, immigration-wise, to come to Russia, because if there are two ways for them to do it: either they come as employees, and we just briefly discussed it, or they come with immigration purpose. If they come with immigration purpose, the only way for them to do it is to obtain a regional quota in the particular region where they want to settle, and then pass the Russian language test, and as an immigration requirement. So, which makes it a bit challenging. With regards to whether somebody can provide such courses, we think it will be us, because the government is not yet so far advanced in the immigration programs to offer, free classes. The way the system works in Russia, because I approached federal government, I approached Federal Ministry of Agriculture on the matter of bringing the Boer farmers to Russia, but they are not really, let's say, they're not really. I mean, they say it's a great idea, yeah, but they don't understand what they need to do. So the way things happen in Russia is that you do it initially in, let's say, one region as a pilot project, and if it's successful on a regional level, yeah, then this experience can be multiplied and
throughout the other
and
oblasts.
brought to, I don't know, a federal level. We've met several regional governors that are interested in this, yeah. Nizhny Novgorod region, Kurgan region, Kaluga region, yeah, and we're also kind of doing our homework to promote this idea among the governors. And on the government level, with the regional kind of budgets that the local regions have, it's much easier to allocate, I don't know, necessary subsidies, because we already were thinking about subsidizing, let's say, the employer. Let's say a Russian farm that wants to bring, I don't know, 5 people from South Africa to work. Yeah. Okay. Who's gonna pay for the tickets? Who's gonna pay for, I don't know, housing, etc., etc. So what we are discussing right now is that the regional government subsidizes the employer. Yeah, partially or in full to, I don't know, tickets, accommodation, etc., etc. This is possible. Government can also subsidize the, I don't know, free Russian language course if that's put in the program. It all depends on a particular governor of how and to which extent he is interested to bring the Boer farmers. This is our homework that we need to do, but without your assistance, it's quite hard, yeah, because again, Russian officials, the way they speak is like, okay, how many people, what they're gonna do, what's their experience, send us their resumes, and I was always telling them, listen, there is not a resume for a farmer, yeah, because that's his way of life. Yeah, I cannot give you an exact resume, but for them, it's, you know how governments work, yeah.
So for them, it needs to be. We need a list of people that's willing to come in, so we can submit that.
Yeah, so they like the idea, but in order for them to see the seriousness of the whole project, they literally need at least an understanding. We are speaking about 5 families, we are speaking about 10, 100,000. Yeah, I know it's a chicken or egg situation. Yeah, but again, our job is to bring these 2 pieces of the puzzle together.
So from what I understand in our discussion here and my own observations and so, the big challenge for Russia is to change the farming mindset from subsistence farmer to commercial farmer. And that is a big challenge. And what I've picked up also is that the way the Russian agricultural system is currently working, especially with the fact that there is so many subsistence farmers, is that Russia does not have the full range of farming products, because the people are all subsistence minded and they are just growing the stuff that they need for themselves to survive to the next season. And they do not produce a variety that the consumers are actually looking for. So Russia is in a position that, okay, they produce a hell of a lot of grain, but they have to import grapes and they have to import other stuff because the locals does not produce enough to present to the consumers. And Russia is now challenged to change that mindset from subsistence farming to commercial farming. Am I correct?
To a certain extent, yeah, because again, it's not, let's say, sometimes when Westerners come to Russia, they think it's a third world country. It is not, yeah. Why I'm focusing on farming? Because I see the opportunities in farming, yeah.
Yeah.
I see the opportunities specifically for Western farmers. But again, as I mentioned, for the reasons of the main thing is the work ethics, yeah. But if we speak about Russian, let's say, companies, there are huge companies, yeah. For example, company that produces beef. Miratorg is
Yo.
Miratorg owns 1.2 million hectares of land. Yeah, where they grow, where they use as pastures for their cattle. They have 600,000
Producing.
cattle of Black Angus. Yeah, we have a company called Econiva. It is third largest producer, biggest producer in Europe of dairy products, and third largest producer of dairy products in the world. We have a company that was only registered 10 years ago, which is third biggest producer of turkey in the world. So we, from the point of view of food security, yeah, we are kind of like 80%, 85% self-sufficient. But there are certain niche areas where Western farmers can be successful, not only, as you said, to be sustainable, farmer, yeah, but also to become a commercially successful farmer. But the key element there is when you come not alone, but let's say 10 or 20 farmers come, because then they can make an infrastructure around them. Yeah, because like, let's say for this Canadian farmer, the challenges that he right now faces is that, okay, he does produce a certain amount of vegetables, yeah, or some other products, but he still he doesn't have enough volume to go to a supermarket chain, yeah, because it's not enough. Yeah, he basically sells it to the villagers around him, yeah, which is, well, partially successfully commercial. When you bring a bigger amount of families and they combine their resources and they, I don't know, have their own special agro cluster, and then they have their own specialization, and then they, I don't know, if needed, they create their own slaughterhouse, yeah, because let's say it doesn't exist, or the closest one is
too far.
Yeah, then they kind of, I mean, you know better than I do.
It's like local economic development clusters that we are looking at.
Yeah,
in the areas that have been left alone, and it's huge areas.
Look, I understand what you guys are saying. And as I have said it in the beginning, the problem is that the Russian mindset is subsistence farming. And now the challenge is to get those people, the Russian people, to start thinking commercially. Now, what you have explained about the bigger companies, we see that here in South Africa, and we see them as what we call mega farmers and so. But this is not what you really want. What you really want is you want successful commercial farms, what we call family farms, where it's big farms, they produce a hell of a lot of product, but they are still owned by the families. And I can understand that. Now, all right, what I think what we should do is the users and the viewers, they must put in the comments on the video if there are specific things that they need answered and so forth. And I keep an eye on the comments in the video when I publish it, so that we can set from that another program in which we can answer the specific questions. Is that okay with you, Timur?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
All right. We have been going now for 35 minutes, and I think we should stop it here, because the people, they don't like hour-long things about this. I'm sure there's a lot of viewers that are looking at it, and what I want to say, and you must tell me if I'm incorrect, what I want to say to the people listening to the video, if they are farmers, there are opportunities in Russia. There are challenges, but all these challenges can be managed, and the opportunity is there for a farmer to go and establish himself in a country that are friendly towards their farmers, but the country has got a lot of land available for the farmers. And if you have the energy and you have the vision, you can establish yourselves there, and within 5 to 10 years, you can grow yourself into a big, successful family farm. Is that correct?
The opportunity is huge. The opportunity is massive here, Uncle Colleen. And, you know, but between Timur and myself, we are trying to establish a, let's call it emotional safety net, a social safety net, the emotional support network, where the one leg is Farm in Russia.
Yeah.
Farm in Russia is the platform that we want to drive this, but it's going to be it's a segment of the Vista immigration. It's going to be ran separate but part. Farm in Russia is a network that we want to set up and a practical physical operation on the ground to have that safety net for European families that wants to come and settle here. This is where the support structure comes in for the skills, training, development, assistance in finding equipment, procurement, the assistance and training in language, the integration, the setting up of tourism hubs, which is a huge thing that is being supported by government, where they want communities to set up a tourism hub where they can introduce their culture, their way of living, their food and everything to the general public. So that's also part and parcel of it all for these communities. And this is how we want to set it through Farm in Russia is the platform, www.farminrussia. And that's the safety net that we are busy creating to actually have these Westerner farmers, our people, ons mense, when we come here, that we're not here like, okay, what the hell now? This is how we set up the safety net. There's somebody here for them to help them to go through this thing.
I think I understand, and I'm sure the viewers will understand. Let's see what the viewer response is. I want to say thank you for your time, Timur. Thank you for your effort, Pieter. And yeah, let's see where this goes. For me, what is clear is, first of all, Russia wants farmers. Number two, Russia appreciates
Western
farmers. Russia respects people's culture. Russia respects people's drive to be self-sustainable and contribute to the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Russia see the value in active farming communities. And those are the things that are important, which in South Africa, we know that the farmers are actually, they are under attack from government. They're under attack from criminals. They have to fight for their lives and their survival and produce the food. So, yeah, if I was a younger guy, I wouldn't have hesitated. But I'm a guy of 73 years old, and I have to live with this. But I think it's very important people understand one of your big challenges will be the language, and you must set yourself mentally into a place where you understand that you will have to put the effort in to cross that language barrier.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And also, Pieter was very kind to bring this book to Russia, which will be the creation of the Boer identity. Yeah,
Yes.
written by the Wheat Bice, and it's already signed several copies to some of the governors of Russia, also to the president of Russia. And I don't know the last to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I don't know whether you heard this news or not. In June 2025, like 3-4 months ago, there was a big forum on which the president and one of the, like, let's say, very high-level officials of Russia have been speaking to, and this person, the high-level official, told to the president, listen, we have some of the requests coming from the South African, the Boer farmers, to move to Russia. Maybe we need to look into this a bit more. And the president said, yeah, why not? Let's look into this more. And so, unfortunately, they don't know how to do it, but we know how to do it. So we'll make it happen.
Well, all I can say, Timur, my channel, Skidmarks, Briekmerke, I have been accused so many times of, they call me I'm a Putin-kaner and things like that. But on my channel, I try to give the people
The truth.
the truth about what's happening in Russia. And for that, I take a lot of flack, but I smile about it. I'm a difficult old fucker. I can,
Told you.
I don't, they can't intimidate me. They can't get me off the track. And when they lose their cool, I sit and I laugh at them and things like that. And because there is such a shortage of real,
Truth.
solid, true information that the media gets away with all their crap and how they paint Russia and how they paint China and things like that. And they make statements and the people listen to it and then they run with that story, but they don't have a clue. And for me, I personally feel in my heart that there is a very close bond between the average Russian and the average Boer. We have the same attitudes, we have the same cultural commitments, we have the same type of integrity and things like that. And we are conservative Christians. And that conservative Christians are under severe attack from the liberal West.
Which
And I have said it many times that it would be actually, it would be funny. It would be actually, I would say, mind-blowing if Russia eventually becomes the last outpost of good Western civilized values. Thank you, Timur. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers?
Thank you very much. It was my honor and pleasure to be speaking with you today. If you have any questions, there are the contacts, so would be happy to assist you for the future of the Boer farmers and Russia.
Thank you very much. And I wish you a lekker day there in Russia and go and eat a piece of meat. That's what we are. Meat eaters. Thank you very much.
Uncle Colleen, that flyer that I've provided you has got the contact information of this platform. So if you would like to post it on the comment section, people can contact us directly. It's going to make it easier for everybody.
I have published that on my publication group and so forth.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day in Russia.